Anita, how's your mental health?
Questionable at all times. You know this.
Yeah, how's the mental health of your children?
Also a little bit tricky. Can I tell you my experience in trying to find therapists for myself and my kids, Mel?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is how it goes. You ask around your friends and your family for a referral for somebody who's nearby. You finally find somebody who sounds like they might work for your family. You give them a call and you find out that A, they're not accepting new patients, or B, they have a huge wait list. So you start over again and you ask people if they know anybody who would be a good therapist and a good fit. Finally, you find one, you go and you meet with them and you figure out that you don't actually like them that much. But it's been so much work to find somebody who you can go to in your area that you're kind of stuck with them. Well, do you have any ideas for how to get around this?
I do, because guess what? I've actually had some therapists that I have found on my own, which involves what you're saying. Sometimes I remember one time I was like 3 hours in the bathtub on my phone looking through websites. I was such a prune at the end. But I have also had the experience with working with BetterHelp. And it was like, I don't want to say too good to be true, but because it is true, but it's like amazing because I was matched with my therapist within 24 hours.
And you didn't have to go through all of that other ridiculous process of trying to find somebody. And here's the cool thing too, is if that person didn't work out for you, you can just switch and say, and it's not like you're committing to another years long search for somebody who you're going to jive with.
It's true. And I lucked out, or maybe just BetterHelp is really good at matching people together because I never had to change my therapist. I loved her. Perfect fit for me. And I know that some of our friends have used BetterHelp and they've had to change therapists, and boom, same day, you can change.
Easy peasy.
You can ghost your therapist. Get a new one.
I love this idea. BetterHelp is one of our sponsors. If you use our promo code trybetterhelp.com/WWDN, you get 10% off your first month. And we totally recommend it.
Yes. Get some therapy. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN. Remember how it's 2024 in the middle of the month?
Mm-hmm. I do remember it. And remember how you've been in New Orleans for like
8
a long
years.
time. You guys. I needed Mel to be in New Orleans because of something I told my kids. And so they couldn't know that she came home. So she's been in New Orleans for a real long time. And I don't want to go into it any more than that. Because what if they listen?
Yeah, no, I thought that too. One day we'll tell the story, but we just had a really great, I felt like we were co-parents, but not really. Like I was a step-parent in a way where we had to be on the same page.
Yeah, we had to get our story straight is really what it was. Our alibis.
Yeah, I feel like it got pulled off flawlessly.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if one of us gets arrested later, but I think we're going to be good. Really, you did go to New Orleans though.
I did.
So it wasn't a whole lie. It was just a part of a lie.
Yeah, and I went to New Orleans because the jazz nonprofit that I helped start, I had to go for that for an event, which was fun, but also I'm sad I missed our friend Erin.
I know. We had a visitor here from Australia. So fun. I pulled off a miracle because it hasn't snowed for weeks, and while they were here, it snowed. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, I did it.
You made it snow.
Yes, it was personally me. It was all my doing.
Well, Anita, how was your 2024? How was the end of your 2023? It's been insane.
Yeah, life is really busy. So we just experienced Jason's 5th death anniversary, which was really weird. It feels weird. How can it have been 5 years?
I don't know.
I remember when I was a widow baby and you would meet people who were like 5 years out, just be like, that's so long. It's so long. And now I'm there. I'm like, what? That can't be right. But then it feels like also it can be right because it seems like my life has never been anything other than widowhood at the same time.
I have a question because I just used your bathroom. Do you have Jason's bath products still?
Some of them, yes. But they're like in a bag under the sink. So I have like his deodorant and some of his what's that stuff?
Shaving cream?
Yeah, and what's
cologne?
That? Cologne.
Axe body spray?
No, that's my kids now. Oh, heaven help me.
So I think it would be interesting to talk about 5 years out. Where are you now?
I'm sitting here with you, recording a podcast
In the same room
in the same room after you're home from New Orleans.
for 6 months.
It is weird. I mean, in a way, like the whole idea of this podcast is weird too, because the only reason it happened was because we both had dead people, you know? So it's sort of one of those, like, I never ever would have predicted this is where life would be for me. And, so it's a weird mind situation, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're in a new year.
I forgot that part until I had to write the date yesterday. So tell me how your holidays went.
Pretty good, actually, I think. And the funny thing is, I can't remember anything after it's happened. I'm like, I don't know, I'm just in the day-to-day again. But no, I feel like our holidays have gotten more and more smooth the more that we've had. You know, it's less painful, less traumatic, less dramatic. It just seems to be like how things are normally. And I've become more attuned and accustomed to doing all the things on my own and buying my own gifts and being cool with that. Although my 7-year-old did buy me a vegetable peeler for Christmas.
Aw.
I asked for one. I was like, if you're going to buy me anything, I really need a new vegetable peeler, because where the heck are all my vegetable peelers? They're probably in the backyard somewhere with all my hammers. They're all lost. I'm so frustrated.
I think mine is kind of a mind-numbing experience, too, because for my holidays, they've always kind of been, in the last several years, go isolate and don't put yourself in a situation where you're stuck and can't get out of, or might have a trigger. Mm-hmm. And then I look at how many years out it's been, and I'm like, well, maybe it'll change now. No. So I'm wondering if I should be worried that I hibernate during holidays, but I still have feelings. It's hard for me to be around things that are like family-centered events.
Well, I was going to ask you, just pretend that you never ever got married and you were always single and you didn't have a family and you still had like the weird family dynamic that you have. Do you think it would be the same? Like, I feel like it might be similar, probably not the same because you don't have the trauma of death, but it might be hard to experience it in that situation too, where you're by yourself and you don't feel close to your family and you're watching everybody like do the family thing and you're like, oh, that's not my life. And I wish maybe I had some of that like connection to people, maybe even if you don't want kids or whatever, just to feel like loved and close and like it's a time to gather and spend time together. Maybe. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think that, well, what Scott's death did that, I guess this was helpful. It gave me a reason that other people could see for me to not participate if I didn't want to, or if there were maybe situations that are unhealthy for me. I now don't have a problem with the boundary. Mm-hmm. And so I think if all that had not happened, I still would probably feel obligated or something like that.
But would you still feel uncomfortable in those situations where everybody's like, look at our family, and you're like, bah?
I don't know. Probably, maybe, but also, I don't know. That's hard.
Well, I just know I have friends who are single, and holidays can be hard for them too, you know? So it's like a couple things added together, the isolation. So.
I think, like, what I grieve still is I wish that there could be a situation where there's somebody or people that I have full trust in and traditions with those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's hard to talk about, I guess.
The hard thing for you too is that and I feel this in a microcosm with Jason dying, is that I am not the priority of anybody. Like, I'm 3rd, 4th, 5th on the list, 7th on the list for a lot of people, but you probably feel the same way. Like, people would invite you to things or make you a part of it, but you're not the priority to them. You're just like, and invite Mel, or and include her. Not like, we're doing this because it's us. It's it's, you know, the fifth wheel or whatever. Fifth wheel? Third wheel.
Or fifth. You know, actually, before I was even married to Scott, I got really accustomed to being a third wheel, and I didn't have a problem with it for a long time. I think when it was in situations where I wasn't super close friends with the people, then I'm like, I really definitely feel out of place. So I don't know, that part, maybe that's just a Mel is different sort of a thing where I was okay with it. But I think it's been interesting to think about, well, I've been alone for so long. I've not had a consistent amount of time with a person without something disrupting it like death. And I think that I wouldn't know how to act in a situation where I am somebody's priority. It's foreign.
You might want to run away. Like, no.
Yeah.
Stop paying attention to me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like I know how to be under the radar and be kind of on the outside of that. I don't know.
So, do you do New Year's resolutions?
No.
She just gave me a look. Like, are you crazy?
I just realized it was 2024, so no.
Okay, I have a question for you about 2023 then. 2023 was hard for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we assume that unless we had a huge life insurance payout, we don't really need to know anything about investments or even finances. But guess what? A little knowledge of finances is critical for all of us. Maybe your partner was in charge of that stuff, and now you find yourself making all the decisions. Maybe you're mad about that. Maybe I am. Nicole from the He's Gone But the Money's Not podcast is here to help. She tackles financial literacy by telling the stories of women and widows and finance experts and shares the lessons they've learned as certified financial planners. Whether you know a lot and feel confident in your financial decisions or feel unsure about all of that stuff, there is more to learn. Listen and subscribe to the He's Gone But the Money's Not podcast on all podcast platforms. This ad was paid for by Rockhouse Financial, an SEC registered investment advisor. What do you think that you learned or gained from 2023?
Okay. I learned that even when I think I cannot handle anymore, that I somehow always survive. And I'm getting really sick of that lesson because it seems to happen every 4 to 6 months. But okay. I got another new tattoo because when I survive something life-threatening, I get one, I guess. Yeah. So I've learned that a couple times, and then I've learned, okay, I'm adding more skills to what I have for coping strategies, and I'm learning that even though I knew this before, not every coping strategy will work in every situation, and I think that goes for the short term and the long term. And I've learned that people that you think will have your back always will not.
That's a dumb lesson.
Yeah. And I've learned a lot about cognition. This is really getting academic. Yeah, just people's perceptions and perspectives, and kind of really been paying attention to people who are in trauma and thought processes with those things, people who might have a healthy, kind of stable life and their thought processes, people who have distortion and maybe aren't in a widowhood situation, but maybe they just kind of are the type of brain where they might have kind of some disorders, and what is perception of reality and what is reality, and kind of balancing all these things. I know Anita's making eye rolls.
Well, I don't even know what reality is.
I don't either.
I keep thinking we're in a video game. And I told somebody that the other day. And they were like, are you serious? And I was like, maybe. I don't know.
You never know.
I don't.
Yeah. I've learned that. And I've learned that I can always keep going and that I can help others even when I'm not okay. And I know earlier in the middle of 2023, I had a big traumatic event happen. And so, Anita, you watched me go through some of that. And grief doesn't end and trauma doesn't end. Every incident is going to be different. And even in my life, every single circumstance is different with each event. But I'm learning even more how much my brain will respond in a certain way. Or, for example, like when the event happened, my memory was like gone of like immediate. I could only think of things in the immediate moment. Mm-hmm. Like in my day-to-day tasks.
Which happened to you when Scott died too.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I kind of take life as an observation. I get mad about it sometimes. And I also have been observing that. And it's like, okay, if I am going to keep having weird traumas every 4 to 6 months, what's my kind of pattern? And so I try to do what I can so that I'm giving myself enough rest and care, but helping other people enough so that I'm not being entirely reclusive, seeking help that I need, and I don't feel ashamed about any of those things. And so I think that's a good thing. It's all these lessons that trauma and grief teach you that you wish you never had to go through, but you've learned the most valuable lessons. That doesn't mean I wish this stuff happened. I hate it. It's stupid, and I'm mad about a lot of things. Like every single day, there's a lot that I'm really mad about. But I have to consciously make sure I don't sink. What about you?
I look back on 2023 and I have been surprised at my increasing capacity. I've done some things and been able, like, especially in my parenting role, that if you would have told me I was going to do, I would have told you were crazy. Even before Jason died, I would not have been able to manage some of the stuff that I'm managing. And so sometimes I'm like, gosh, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
And then like 5 seconds later, I'm like, I'm the worst. But there have been a lot of things where I'm like, man, I'm really growing and learning, and my capacity is increasing.
I hope that everyone can hear the children outside of the door. It's my favorite part.
Oh my
Can you guys hear them? They're making mouse noises.
I don't know what's going on out there. But anyway, but also, the same token, being a parent is super hard. And sometimes I want to crawl under a rock, but it is not available to me. I also...
I have a skate ramp you can hide under.
They will find me. They are like those truffle pigs.
Like, remember when your dad found me and I was in the backyard and there was no visibility? Yeah, you'll be found. It's a family trait.
Yeah, they'll find me. Did a lot of like really cool... I like to accomplish... what's the right word?
Tasks?
Tasks, not tasks. I'd like to accomplish accomplishments. How's that for a sentence? Things that are tangible that you can say, like, look what I did, which is part of the reason why I do like a lot of races and things like that, because then it gives me something to work towards. And then when I complete it, then I can be like, I did this, you know. So did a lot of that in 2023 too. And I don't know. I just feel like we're getting better at this, and my kids are growing up, and some of them are getting less crazy. So that's helpful too.
What would you say to widowed parents or widows in general that you have learned?
Find a rock.
My skate ramp's available.
No, really, somebody told me this, and this is so true. But you don't need just one locked door. You need 2 locked doors between you and your kids. So you go into your bedroom, lock the door, then go into the bathroom and lock the door. That's the best thing to do. I don't know. It's kind of like you said, you can do a lot more than you think you could. You can. I saw a quote, and I use this a lot in some of the long distance races that I do, and they've done studies on this too, that when you think that you're at your maximum, you're only like 45% at your maximum.
What? Whoa.
Yeah. So like physically, they do that in like the Navy SEAL training. When you think you're done, you're not done. So I don't know. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, Mel. So on the flip side, what would you tell people who are widowed without kids?
I would say by now, maybe some people who have been a little ways out realize that it's okay for situations to change. And for those who are not ready for situations to change, for example, maybe you're like, I don't ever want to be with another person ever again. And then you're getting to a point where you're growing in your life and you're considering being with another person, and that's hard for you. That's okay. You can let go of it. And I think some of those things are like protective as we protect ourselves from Anita's kids with the door right now. And I think for those who have whatever amount past the death they are, whatever amount of time, if you are not changing with what you want and what your life looks like, that's maybe okay. for example, if you are, one of your things has been maybe like me, where you've been in a society where you feel like you're only of worth if you have kids and you're married, and you're learning that you are of value even without that. I love the piano sounds out there. It's like,
Mel's like, your technique is terrible.
No, I'll be like, that sounds like the Banshee. This is modern classical composition. But for those who are learning to be there for themselves, and that they can be strong. I know some people have strong feelings about the word strong.
Mm-hmm.
Some don't. Sorry, I used it. Hopefully you can reframe the word.
I said what I said.
I said what I said. Yeah. Props to you. Those are hard lessons to learn, because when you're totally alone and, when you don't have a partner, you have to learn about yourself, and you have to be there. We're all responsible for ourselves, and we're responsible for how we show up. Sometimes we don't have capacity or will to show up in a better way, like a more healthy way. And so we make decisions where it's like, okay, today I self-care, or today here's my best that I can do. Wherever you're at, you're doing great. And sometimes when I was not doing great, I was like, don't say that to me. Like, I'm not. My best is not this. But maybe that particular day, your best is that you woke up and you peed twice, and you had a protein shake that you pulled out from under your bed because you didn't want to go upstairs to the kitchen. Maybe that's okay. So yeah, wherever you're at in your journey, another word that a lot of people don't like, but I'm using because I don't really want to go Google and find another one.
The bad buzzwords today.
I guess. You got this. It sucks. It's hard. And learning the lessons to be there for yourself are hard, and they're so valuable. And the hard stuff and the good stuff is all important. And if you hate that I said that, I feel you. Mm-hmm. And if you agree with me because you kind of are on the other side of those hard things and maybe having a decent day, I feel you too. So, yeah, props to all of us.
I loved what you said about being willing to change situations, because I get in the position where what I thought was the right thing for that particular time, it almost starts to become part of an identity. And so if you change, then you feel like you're disappointing somebody, or you have to explain how things have changed for you. You have to, make other people understand. And so I think it's kind of a good exercise to realize that we are humans, and humans change. And it doesn't mean that you're betraying yourself or betraying other people, or anything has gone wrong in the system when you have to make adjustments.
I actually was thinking about this, and this is not an example that you're going to think that I thought of
okay.
in regard to that, but I was thinking about how you used to make cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wondered, that's also a time in your life when Jason was alive, and your cookies were amazing and beautiful and delicious, and you don't do that now because of what you've been dealing with. Has those kind of, I guess, changes, how has that been for you? Like, has that been something to mourn?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So for those who don't know what Mel's talking about, before Jason died, I used to decorate really fancy sugar cookies, and I would spend a lot of time making these really intricate, beautiful sugar cookies, and I would sell them, and I went to conferences and just lots of cookie related things.
You guys, there's a cookie con.
Yes, there's a convention for people who decorate cookies. Actually, we had the sister of the person who does that on the podcast. Anyway, and after Jason died, I have not done it since. And some of it's very practical because they take a long time and you need somebody to wrangle the kids so that you can dedicate that time to there. And some of it is just not a desire to do it. Like, it's something that brought me happiness before, but it just doesn't pull my attention and draw my attention anymore. It's not something that I really want to do. Do I mourn it? I mourn the community that comes with it more than I mourn the actual thing. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people who've experienced a death of a partner or a spouse, like who they are and how they identify themselves has probably changed significantly. Like, you think about if bowling was something that you and your spouse did and now you don't want to do that. Like, what if that was a big part of you and now it's different?
Yeah, and bowling has a great community, and you're in teams, and there are leagues. So
I interrupt this program to let you know that there may be a boredom-related death soon because one of my kids is so bored that he doesn't know what to do except for bang on my door.
Should I tell him that I'm taking the Switch back? We have a Nintendo situation. Yo!
Don't do that.
Okay, maybe we'll just... Guys, we're going to try to finish up just so that there's not a problem in this house, but... What I wanted to say was there are endings. Some of them are abrupt and some of them are a little bit more wiggly, squishy, and some are necessary. And I think learning to understand what of these things are necessary or helpful or just natural, that's been something that's I've been observing over the years. And it's hard because sometimes I'm like, well, I do this and I've always done this, and so I should continue to do this forever. And sometimes there's just no possible way to do whatever that is. And then sometimes I look at things and I'm like, I've done this for so long and I'm going to keep doing it. So yeah, having choices really helpful, or observing that not everything has to be necessary.
And on the same token, if we go back to the cookie example, just because I don't do it now doesn't mean I never will either. We can put pauses in some of the things too. You know, like if it doesn't seem like it's serving you in something you want to do now, then you can stop. It doesn't mean I can never ever make a cookie again in my life.
Yeah. And I think that you should go make some right now because your kids might mutiny. So
but wait, I wanted to hear, Mel, what you want for 2024.
Oh, I want to continue to have my own back. And when hard things come up, I want to be able to process them in the healthiest way. And other than that, I just want to have fun and help people. And that's it. It's just pretty simple. And I don't want to get so caught up in complexities that I can't be that person for the world and myself. And I also want you to not get killed by your child outside the door.
He'll be fine. What I want in 2024 is I think I need to eat a vegetable. Like,
just one?
Just one. So.
Okay. Let's hope also for everybody's sake, we all have enough fiber so that we can go to the bathroom and be as healthy as possible.
That's right.
Women struggle with that a lot, and some men. And stress makes you not poo. So
How about
best of luck.
Probiotics?
Probiotics, prunes.
Prunes. I haven't had a prune in a good long while.
I feel like prunes get a bad rap because they're actually delicious, but then they make me think of everything.
Where do you find prunes?
I don't know. My mom found some and gave it to me. The store.
I don't think I've seen a prune in a while. Okay, well, that took a weird turn at the very end. We're wishing you a good 2024 where you can see some positive change in your life, even though you're going through the hardest way to accomplish that positive change.
Yes. We are glad that you are listening, and we hope that this is helpful. So if you find these episodes helpful, will you please write us a nice review, not a mean review, on Apple Podcasts, and give us 5 stars. It helps others to find us.
It's all about the algorithms.
Yeah. And if you would like to support the podcast,
you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/WWDN.
If you don't want to do that, we also accept tacos in the form of buymeacoffee.com/widowwedonoww.
I think that's all, right, Mel?
Yeah, let's go save your children or your life.
I'm Anita.
I'm Mel.
We're just skidding into 2024, whether or not we want it. And we're just here to figure out Widow
We
do
now. It's gonna be okay, kids. This is my favorite thing to discuss with you.
Tell me, what is it?
One of my favorite things. I do enjoy tacos and cheese and dogs. This is about how you cannot pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a phone plan, especially when you're a widow, your person is dead, you might have kids, you might need another option, and you just want your phone to work, you want unlimited texting and service, and you want it to be like $25 a month.
It blows my mind that they have plans that start at $15 a month. That is so cheap. And the cool thing is it uses other 5G networks, and so you don't have to pay extra for that, and you still get great service.
Yep, Anita and I have traveled all over, and I have used my phone. So I highly recommend it. And my mom's even on it. When my dad died, we put his phone down to the cheapest plan, which is $15 a month. And I think my mom's on the $20 a month plan, and it's so worth it. It's so much cheaper than what we were all paying before. So I highly recommend it if you're on a budget or not. Who cares? Ryan Reynolds is in charge of the company, and they send you free stickers with Ryan Reynolds temporary tattoos. It's kind of the best. So if somebody wants to sign up, what can they do, Anita?
Go to trymintmobile.com/WWDN. Seriously, you guys, such a great idea. Save yourself some money.
And if you're worried about losing data or having any changes with your phone, not going to happen. They walk you through it. Everything's fine. It's the easiest process of all time. Again, that's
trymintmobile.com/WWDN.